Hi friends, Miss Kate here. My read aloud for this week is called How Much is a Million? And it is written by David Schwartz. Now, this is a really cool story about a mathematical wizard who is going to teach us how much 1 million is. Now, many of you probably have never seen or heard this number. I'm going to show you what it looks like on a piece of paper. And I was wondering, I need some help, some helpers to help me count the number of zeros in the number 1 million. Will you help me? All right, get your counting fingers ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 zeros in the number 1 million. That is a big number. All right, I want to learn more about this big number, so should we get started? Let's do it. If 1 million kids climbed onto one another's shoulders, they would be taller than the tallest buildings and higher than the highest mountains. So there they are, one on top of another, going all the way up past the building, past the mountain, and farther up than airplanes can fly. That's really high. If you wanted to count from 1 to 1 million, it would take you about 23 days. So there's the math wizard with his little calendar on the tree, and it's showing 23 days it's going to take them to count to 1 million. If a goldfish bowl were big enough for 1 million goldfish, yikes, look how big that goldfish bowl is. It would be large enough to hold a whale. Oh, holy cow. Presto, 100 stars. If this book had 1 million tiny stars, they would fill 70 pages. Climb aboard. All right, so they are getting into, have any of you seen one of these before? It's called a hot air balloon. Getting into the hot air balloon, and they're gonna go up, 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 all the way into the sky. And what do we see in the background? Lots and lots of stars. They're still flying. Still flying. There you have 100,000 stars. If we take the 7-page journey 10 times, we'll pass 1 million stars. And the kids in the basket are saying, let's do this later. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. So there they are, still floating. I think they're ready to get back to Earth. How big is 1 billion? If 1 billion kids made a human tower, look how high that human tower is. They would stand up past the moon. What? And they're holding a banner. It says 1 billion kids. If you sat down to count from 1 to 1 billion, you would be counting for 95 years. And you know what's really funny on this page? They start out as kids, and 95 years later, they're a little older, right? If you found a goldfish bowl large enough to hold 1 billion goldfish, it would be as big as a stadium. Has anyone ever been to a stadium? It's where a lot of sporting events are held and concerts. It's meant to hold a lot of people. If this book had 1 billion tiny stars, its pages spread side by side would stretch almost 10 miles. Wow, that is a long distance. 10 full miles. How tremendous is 1 trillion? That is a mouthful. Does anyone hear the t sound? Tremendous and 1 trillion. If 1 trillion kids stood on top of each other, they would reach way, way, way beyond the moon. 1 trillion kids. Beyond Mars and Jupiter too, and almost as far as Saturn's rings. So now this time, let's go to the very top so you can see. They're holding a banner and it says, wow, 1 trillion kids. And there's some space aliens that are looking at the banner and probably are overwhelmed by how many kids they see. The human tower. If you wanted to count from 1 to 1 trillion, it would take you almost 200,000 years. That is a long time. If you put 1 trillion goldfish in a goldfish bowl, the bowl would have to be as big as a city harbor. So, some of you may have been in New York Harbor before, but it's the body of water surrounding the city, which is very big. If you put 1 trillion of our stars onto a gigantic roll of paper, it would stretch all the way from New York to New Zealand. That is a long way away because New Zealand is on the other side of the earth. The end. Well, I know that all of you are 1 in a million, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at our Zoom meeting. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.